guys, Preacher 357 here, out here on the range again, and I've got the FN Reflex. This is a gun that came out last year, but it hasn't really been available in the stores here in West Tennessee where I am until about the last 3 months or so. I'd never seen one in the stores until then, and now you're starting to see them out there. And so I was fortunate enough to go down to Direct Hit in Jackson, Tennessee this morning on the south side of town down there, one of my favorite gun shops. And they had this one there, and I picked it up and I brought it in, and I've been doing just a little bit of shooting with it. So I guess this isn't a first shots video, so to speak. I did a little bit of shooting, a little bit of comparison. Actually did a little bit of adjusting on the sights because it was hitting to the left a little bit for me. And so I adjusted the sights slightly. And it's also shooting a little bit low as well. And I know low to the left could be a problem with your trigger finger. It could be a problem with your hold. But I was comparing it to my Sig P365, and I was shooting dead on with it. So I don't think it was me in the video, though it could always be me. But I think it was just this gun shooting a little low to the left. I made some adjustments. Now you can adjust for windage by drifting the rear sight, which is what I did, or even the front sight if you wanted to. It's dovetailed as well. But you can't adjust the elevation, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to hold a little higher than I like to. I don't really like to hold at 12 o'clock or take a high hold. I'd rather actually take a low hold if I don't take dead on, but that's just what I'm going to have to do for this gun. So that's a strike against it already, but we'll see how it compares. Now, I've been carrying the P365 for about 2 years now, and there's been a lot of these small guns that have come out that I've reviewed, that I've looked at, that I've shot, and so far none of them have knocked the P365 out of my rotation. None of them have taken its place yet. And I know a lot of people didn't like the P365 and they like these other ones better, but for me, the P365 so far has been the winner every time. Not that it's the best in every category, but it's always seemed to be the best to me all the way around. It fit me better. But here we have another one of these, and this is from a high-end manufacturer, FN. They're a great manufacturer of firearms, and been around a long time. You know, John Browning worked with FN toward the end of his life, and they've come out with this firearm that's very, very comparable to the P365. The P365. I'll get it out in a minute. It's got a front night sight just like the P365 does. It's almost the same size. There's very little difference. So you could see they really were going for that market with this gun. And they've done some really good things with this gun. Number one, the trigger. Nice. Nice. A little take up there. Not really hardly any creep at all, and then a clean break. Yeah, if there was one thing about the P365 that I don't like, it is the trigger. Now you can change out the triggers on them, the contour of them, and you can do some different things with them if you want to mess with them. This one is still stock. I put a Wilson Combat grip frame on it, which helped it quite a bit, and that's one of the reasons this has remained in my carry rotations, because how much I like the Wilson Combat grip frame. If it was the original grip frame, maybe it wouldn't still be. I don't know, but the one thing I don't like about it is the trigger. A little take up there, then some creep, a little more creep, then a spongy break. Really spongy break. I mean, you don't feel it so much when you're shooting, you know, live ammo, but you can really feel it here. And that's the downside of a lot of striker fired guns, is they tend to be a little spongy. They don't have as good of triggers as your hammer fired guns do. So how did FN overcome that? How did they make such a great striker fired gun with such a great striker fired trigger? Well, here's the secret. It's not striker fired. This is actually a hammer fired gun. And that's why the trigger is so nice on this. It is really, really nice. But how does that translate into shooting? Because just because the trigger is good doesn't mean it's a good shooter. I know that seems to be counterintuitive to some people. Some people might think if the trigger is good, then it's just a great experience all the way around, but not necessarily. There's the ergonomics. Obviously, there's the sights. You know, there's a lot of factors involved that lend itself to being a good shooter besides just the trigger. You can take a gun with a moderately good trigger, an okay trigger, and it still be a good shooting gun because of all the other aspects of it. So the question is, how good does this shoot? Well, if you saw the video at the first there, where I was shooting the paper, it was hitting low and left. So there's obviously a problem with me shooting this gun. I'm having to hold somewhere I don't like to hold. And that might be a deal breaker for this gun for me. Now, obviously, I could try some different sights on it and do some different things to try to get it where I wanted it. But I don't know if I'm going to put that much time into it or not. Maybe I will. But why don't we do just a little bit of shooting first, and we'll see if I can hit anything with it. I've done a little bit of shooting, but I haven't done a lot. So I haven't went out at distance with it or anything like that. And I want to shoot it next to the P365 as well, and just do some real-time comparison and give my thoughts on it as well in this video. So before we get started, guys, if you will, check out the description. There's a link there for the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, where you can get a discounted membership there. There's also a link there for the TFA. If you live in the state of Tennessee like I do, this great state we live in, then I would urge you to join up with the TFA as well, as we're fighting to secure all of our rights that we are due here in this state of Tennessee. We've got a lot of freedom, but there's still work to be done. So if you would, check out the description there. And if you're so inclined, please join up and help us out in fighting for our rights. Well, let's get over here and do some shooting. All right, guys, I'm going to start out first with the flush fit magazine. And these are hard to push in. You pretty much have to open the slide to load it. I'm going to start out with the flush fit magazine here. This is an 11 round magazine, in contrast to the 10 round that you get with the Sig P365. So you get one more round, and that's been fairly typical of a lot of the competition that's come out after the P365, that they've had at least one more round than the P365. I don't know if 11 rounds makes that much of a difference over 10, but you know, maybe if you're big on round count, that makes a difference for you. As usual, we'll just start over here on the red plates, and we'll see what we can do. I'm going to hold a little high, but hopefully I can get this figured out. All right. Well, what was that? I guess it's a dead round. This is factory ammo, though. I think I touched him, didn't I? Huh. Take a look at this round here. Well, that's interesting. There is a strike on it. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. I'll try to get a picture if you can't see it. It may not focus well enough. There's a strike on the primer, but it's not as good as I would like to see. Not quite as good as I'd like to see. So that could be a problem, that this gun may not be hitting with enough force. The firing pin may not be hitting with enough force. Let's try that round one more time, see if it goes off this time. Well, it's hammer fired, so you got to pull it back all the way to reset it. I'm trying to do it like a striker fired gun. Huh. Well, you know what? Let's try this. Let's put this round in the P365 and see if it'll set it off. If it won't, that just means this is a bad round all the way around. There's nothing to it. It's not the gun's fault at all, but that primer strike is not as solid a strike as what I'd like to see. Let's see what happens here. There we go. There we go. The P365 set it off. So it's hitting the round with a little bit more force than the FN Reflex is. So that's something to keep in mind there. If you've got ammo with hard primers, you might run into an issue with that. But let's do a little comparison here between the P365 here. I'm going to leave the slide open on this one. But you can see here the flush fit magazine, and we'll compare it with the FN. And in the front, they are exactly the same length. I don't know if you can see that or not. Try to get it where you can see it. They're exactly the same length in the front, but in the back, the P365 is a little shorter with the flush fit magazine. As for, I'm gonna have to go ahead and close the slide. Let me take the mag out. But from the rear, you can see that the FN is a little longer in the slide. So you got a little bit more slide length, but about the same grip length. And so you got two firearms that are practically the same size. Now, because of that length, here is my Alabama pocket holster that I use for the P365. It almost goes in, but that little bit of extra slide length just won't let it click in far enough. So the holster for one probably not going to work for the other one, unless it's a leather holster that has a little bit of play. You know, maybe you can find a leather holster that'll work for both of them. But they are very comparable in size. So let's do a little bit more shooting here. I'm going to shoot this 15 round magazine now. Now the extended mag for the P365 is a 12 round magazine. The extended for this is a 15, but it's a lot longer. Here is the extended mag for the P365, and I think you can see there, if we put the round up to where it is in this one, you know, it's longer. Not by much, but it is longer than the P365 magazine, but you're getting 3 more rounds. Now, obviously with the XLs and the other P365 versions that have come out now, there are 15 round mags available that will fit in the standard P365. So if you wanted 15 rounds, you could have that as well. So not a big deal one way or the other, but it does come with this, and you can see just how long that grip is in comparison. The grip's as long as the slide pretty much. It's kind of a strange looking creature there. But you get a full grip this way, whereas with the flush fit magazine, you really don't. Now, it also comes with a floor plate here, which the Sigs do as well. That gives you a little pinky extension, so you can get your pinky on there as well if you want a little bit better grip. But for concealed carry, I wanted it as short as possible because the grip is obviously what's going to print. So I like to just keep the flush fit magazines, and I learned to shoot them with, you know, only 2 fingers of contact instead of 3. So let's do a little bit of shooting with the 15 round magazine. See if I do any better with it. All right. Not too bad. Well, as soon as I say that, I miss. There we go. Not too bad. It doesn't shoot dead on for me, like I said, and I don't know. I don't feel like I'm shooting as well with it, even though I'm hitting as I would like to. I don't know how many rounds I got left here. I got about 6 rounds, I think, with the one in the chamber. So I'm gonna go out here to 100 yards. See if I can hit out here. All right. Woo! Just popped me in the forehead. But I said I had 6 rounds. I don't think that was 6, was it? My counting is not doing so hot. So let me load up a few more rounds in these mags, and then I want to do some comparison with the P365, and then I'll give you my judgment on which one I'm going to keep. Pretty well know already. I mean, I might keep them both. I don't know. I guess that's always a possibility. There's nothing that says I can't have both. I've got a lot of redundancy in my collection. I mean, how many revolvers do I have? I can't even count how many revolvers I've got. And how many 357s I've got. I love 357s. So there's no reason to only have one. I can have all of them if I want to. That's great about freedom. Freedom means you can do what you want to do. If you want to have every single one of these micro, compact, high capacity guns, you can have every one of them. You can have the Canic, the MC9 Mete, you can have the GX4 by Taurus, you can have the Springfield, you can have the Sig, you can have the FN, you can just have them all. That's the great thing about freedom. You don't have to have a reason. You don't have to have a reason. All right, let's, I'm gonna go out here to 100 yards again. I may do the same thing with the P365 as well. Let's try this one at 100 again. Yeah. Well, I thought I had it down. Hold up just a little more. Well, we have just had a malfunction. Just had a malfunction. Huh. We sure did. Had a misfeed. Like it popped out of the mag and didn't feed into the chamber. I thought I was out of ammo, but I was not. I actually had a failure. I'm shocked. I really am. I did not think that we would have any issues with failures with this gun. With an FN. I don't know. Maybe it's a little dry. I have not lubed it up since I got it. But still, you just don't expect that. We'll see if it happens again. I've got a few more rounds in here. Then I'm going to try the P365. See if I can get the range again. And I got it one more time. All right, P365 at 100 yards. I hadn't shot this in a 100-yard target in a long time. I'm going short. Still going short. Well, there we go. Well, I got it a time or two. Let's be honest, neither one of these guns are designed to go at 100 yards. Let's try the one at 80 now. Let's try this one at 80, see if I can hit this one. I don't know, maybe. Maybe. There we go. Hit something. There we go. I'm getting in a hurry. Well, I got her again, didn't I? I mean, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. That trigger is nice. On the last round. Woo, Sig, you're gonna have a hard time keeping up with that. You're gonna have a hard time. Well, let's see. One thing I noticed between the P365 and the FN is I get a lot of trigger slap with the P365. That's something I've never liked about it. Now, obviously, it's a self-defense gun. It's not a range gun, so those kinds of things don't really bug me because I don't plan on coming out here and shooting just hundreds of rounds through this thing generally. I shoot enough to train with it, shoot enough to be familiar with it, but you know, it's not really a range toy. So things like trigger slap is irrelevant just about, but I don't like it. And I don't get near as much of that with the FN as I do with this one. Let's just see if I can hit this thing. There's one. Thought I had the range. Apparently I don't. Another thing I don't like about the Sig with the 12 round magazine is it pinches my pinky finger. My finger gets in these little areas in here and it pinches it when I pull the trigger. Never liked that about it either. Well, that's all she wrote. I hit it a couple times, I think. So what is my judgment? Well, to be perfectly honest, the FN would have a lot of chance of taking the Sig's place. But I like the Wilson Combat grip frame better than I do the FN. So that puts it up a little bit. And I don't like the fact that I did have a failure with the FN. You know, that's not something I was expecting. And it'll be something I'll definitely keep an eye on. I'll be doing some more shooting with it to see if that happens again. But that worries me a little bit. The fact that it's not got as much power in the firing pin as the striker does on the P365 as well. So if you've got a hard primer on your ammunition, you might get a light primer strike. So, you know, when I put those things together, I don't think this FN is going to take the place of my P365. I think I'm going to keep carrying it. Maybe I was a little bit better at it 180 yards with the FN, but I shot this one a little bit better actually at paper earlier, just at 10 yards, and that's more likely to be what I need a concealed carry gun for. So I think once again the Sig is what I'm going to stay with. But despite those issues I did have, I like the gun. I like a lot about it. I think FN has done a good job with it, and this is probably, you know, this is just a sample size of one. So to say that all FNs are going to have this problem is not the truth, I don't think. I don't think everybody's going to experience that. And I'm sure if it really is a problem, and I see it's a problem, I can probably send it back to the manufacturer, and I'm sure FN will correct that. But you know, it may be just one of those flukes as far as that misfeed I got. That may never happen again. But I'll do some more shooting with it, and if I see problems, I'll let you know. But here it is, guys, the FN Reflex. Overall, a pretty nice gun. A little bit disappointed in some things about it, but overall, I think they probably got a good gun on the market here, and I think probably this is just a fluke that I'm experiencing. I haven't read about other people having problems with theirs, so I'll look around and see. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention and everybody's having this problem. I don't know. But for the most part, I do like the gun. Just a little bit disappointed. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. If you've got one, or you shot one, or you've had issues, or you've never had an issue, you know, let me know. I'm interested to find out what other people's experiences are. But here's the FN Reflex. Fairly nice gun, other than those problems I had. So, guys, appreciate you coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.